What about Norm Macdonald? You're at war with him as well. You two don't like each other.
Warring with Norm?
Here's what Norm said.
Oh, good.
I got it for you.
Another one.
Chris and Norm Macdonald apparently hate each other. This is according to my notes. When Norm hosted Saturday Night Live, Chris did not appear on the show. Wow.
Wait, when was...
In November of 97.
Oh, right.
Norm said of Chris, I don't know, but to me he seems gay. He claims he's not, but I've never seen like a guy who's not gay seem so gay. I don't find him funny. What can I say? Never made me laugh.
If you were to ask a comedy fan about their top 10 favorite comics of all time, it's highly likely that Norm Macdonald would be on that list. Many even consider him the greatest of all time. However, what makes him the greatest to some is also what made a few people absolutely hate him. Norm was brash, sarcastic, and brutally honest. This led to feuds with major figures in Hollywood, including Barbara Walters, the president of NBC, and even some of his fellow Saturday Night Live cast members. No one was spared from his brutal honesty, and some weren't able to take it.
What happened between... First of all, I don't believe you're gay, are you? I know someone you dated.
No, I'm not gay.
Yeah, you did.
And he's certainly had to have laughed at you once or twice.
Right.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
a funny guy.
Right.
Well, that was the
I mean, your
Rolling
characters,
Stone
some of your
article.
characters are effeminate, so maybe people will think you're
Right,
gay.
like Mango's, like, you know,
he's gay.
Queer as day.
Right. So
yeah.
So is Norm a homophobe? Is that the problem? He doesn't like gay
definitely
characters?
think he has a problem with
But give me the history of this. I love feuds.
Okay, let's see. What is I don't know
You
exactly.
didn't appear on the show for a reason. You just
No. I don't. I just think I didn't get my sketches in. It wasn't like I'm not appearing in the show.
And when you're on Saturday Night Live, I've heard this before. When you say you didn't get your sketches in, you have to write your own material. If you don't get it in, if
it doesn't pass muster,
then you're not on the show.
Right.
Wow, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, every week.
So do you have to hire separate guys to help you write material?
No. I mean they're there. There's there's people you write with normally. So
right. Okay. Because I heard some people don't help other people. You know.
No, some people don't.
Right.
But I'm not. Because I'm not exactly the easiest guy to write for, though. I'm not like. I'm not an everyman. I can't be the boyfriend all the time.
First off, Kattan says he thinks Norm is a homophobe, but we all know that isn't true. Norm himself was a very deeply closeted gay man, by his own admission.
Something people don't know about you.
I'm a deeply closeted gay guy?
No kidding.
Well, I'm not coming out, though.
Kattan was right about his characters being flamboyant, though. Mango was a rough one. Corky Romano came to mind, and even though A Night at the Roxbury was totally awesome and straight, Kattan still comes off as, well, obviously Norm held no personal grudge against gay people. Norm's comedy was honest, and he knew how to push buttons. Good comedians are able to call out the glaringly obvious and make jokes about things other comedians are afraid to mention. Kattan comes off the same way as Tony Hinchcliffe, but Tony knows how to respond accordingly, and everybody laughs, and that's it.
Welcome to Kill Tony. How you doing?
Good, man. I can't wait to call you gay for 2 hours.
Yeah, he gets it. He already knows.
But with Kattan, something about Norm just struck a nerve.
So why Norm Macdonald? I mean, Norm is an easygoing guy. I know Norm. Why the dislike? Something happened.
Well, let's see. When I first got on the show, he was so nice. He and Spade,
right,
were just like so nice. And then I don't know what happened. He just started. Like Garth Brooks was. Oh, we did like a pitch meeting, and he started saying things in the pitch meeting like you don't want to do it. Like Garth Brooks was a guest.
Yeah.
Was a guest. I was like, I'm sure you don't want to do it.
Right.
Like things like that. And people would laugh.
Oh dear.
I was like, why is he saying? Why is it? And then it got kind of old. Like Jesus, Norm, you're like another.
And it makes you inhibited in a writing meeting if someone's goofing on you every time you open up your mouth, right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't care because I'm not gay. If I was like, some gay guy going, I don't want anyone to know that I'm just
right. And so the gay jokes kept going and going and going.
Yeah, the gay jokes kept going and going.
And then you finally said, hey, I've had it with you, Norm.
Well,
did you ever confront him?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but it's like a playful thing. He says it's like a Jack Benny, Fred Allen, kind of a feud thing.
But you don't see it that way.
No, I think he's,
I get where Kattan is coming from, but again, he took it personally when he shouldn't have. And back to the quote from the start when Norm told a magazine he never found Kattan funny. I think Norm was saying that to make fun of the magazine. Like the interview was so unimportant that he just made a joke out of the interview. I bet he thought it was funny when the magazine actually published it. I feel like if Kattan would have just laughed about it and made fun of Norm for being a dirt or something, then it all would have just went away.
This is what happened. We were on a flight together. We didn't plan on being together on the same flight. We were flying from LA back to New York,
right,
to do Saturday Night Live, and it was a red eye, And he's behind me, and we're, getting along, whatever. He's talking about crapping on women, or I don't know what he was talking about. Something like that.
Yeah,
and it was funny because he was so loud,
right?
So everyone else could hear it. I'm like, there's crap on this girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, laughing.
Right.
Because he's a funny guy.
Yeah. And
then I wake up, and, because it's a red eye, and one of my shoes is missing. I was like, where's my shoe? And Norm's like, hey, you lost your shoe, huh? And then he leaves. And I'm like, so disoriented. And I'm the last guy in the flight looking for my shoe. And I just, walk off the plane with one shoe. And all the stewardess is like, you are funny.
Oh, no. So he stole your shoe.
He stole my shoe.
And he's playing goofs on you. He's not respecting you.
Right. And then I took his jacket on a really cold night.
Yes.
And his assistant called me at home going, I got to get Norm's jacket. Please get me Norm's jacket. And she was like freaking out.
Right.
I was like, no, this is between Norm and I.
You can't play in this game. But it does go further when it's practical jokes and all that stuff, but it does go further when he goes in Rolling Stone and says, I don't think the guy's funny.
Right.
That's when it really hurts, right? Because, he didn't need to do that.
What? Yeah, I don't think he's funny.
There has to be more to the story than just Kattan hating Norm for calling him out during the magazine interview. You can tell by how condescending he is about the jokes Norm was making and what the jokes were about. Norm talking about doing number twos on women while being too loud about it on an airplane sounds hilarious. Again, I think the biggest problem in their relationship is that Kattan took it personal, and the more he hated on Norm, the more it fueled Norm. Taking Kattan's shoe and making him walk through the airport is hilarious, but Kattan got offended and then proceeded to take Norm's jacket the next chance he got. It wasn't just Norm that had a problem with Kattan. Apparently Jim Brewer didn't like Kattan either.
Is it not true that Jim Brewer, your former cast member, had a problem with you as well?
I think at one point he thought I stole an idea from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, man, there's so much infighting. You got to admit.
But that's it, though.
Really?
That's not much for like 6 years.
I remember Brewer bringing up how Saturday Night Live is a den of thieves when he was on Rogan, and I always wondered who he was talking about. In this clip from JRE, he doesn't call anyone out, but according to what the call-in on Stern Show said, Brewer is talking about Kattan.
A cast member would come in and look at my board and go, oh, what does that mean? I go, oh, that's a sketch, and I know so-and-so's coming. Pesci's going to read to children about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and explain why his nose is red, and the big joke is because he's a rat. And you're sitting there, and then this person, Lauren goes, next sketch is, Al Pacino as Scarface reading to school children Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and you go, you look, you see their eyes are down. You know what's going on. I may be the last one that threatened violence. I was in a room with one of the guys, and I literally said, I will not.
Do you remember that Rolling Stone cover came out and they only put certain members of SNL on the cover?
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Didn't that cause a lot of strife inside?
Yeah, well...
Why, they only chose certain amount of people for the cover. It was you...
Right, it was Will, me, Molly Shannon, and Sherry O'Terry.
And you did the cover, and the rest of the cast felt like, hey, what are we, garbage?
What is this?
But why be mad at you?
It was because of our characters, too. It was like there was the cheerleaders.
You were the breakout guys.
Roxbury guys.
Right.
And Mary Catherine.
But aren't they mad or jealous because you guys broke out and they didn't? And don't they think that you should stick up for them and insist that they be on the cover as well? But you don't have that kind of juice.
No, what are we gonna?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's only makes sense that they would be on the cover, but what are we gonna do? I mean, Norm wanted to be. There's a big stink because he wanted to be on the cover
by himself.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I don't know if he wanted. No, he wanted to be
in that picture.
I don't know. He showed up later, and then he wanted to be. He wanted to stand in the middle of us.
And you said no.
Well, it was just like weird.
So this is the Rolling Stone cover they're talking about. According to Kattan, it sounded like Norm just stumbled onto the set and was like, hey, there, what are you guys up to? I want to be on the cover. Let me just stand there in the middle. And if you go by the cover they published, Kattan seems right. Like it wouldn't have worked with Norm standing in the middle. But thankfully, Artie Lang was listening and called into the show to set the record straight.
Artie Lang. What's up, man?
Yeah, hey, Artie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I like Chris. I think he's funny. But
what he said before about that Rolling Stone cover is wrong.
All right, go. Artie's going to defend Norm, I guess.
Norm represents.
You know you might be wrong.
All right, go ahead.
No, it's just that Chris made it sound like Norm showed up begging to get on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Oh no, he wasn't begging. He was just like assuming he was on the cover with us, and
Well, he was though.
I know he was.
But he wanted to stand in the middle as well.
No. Norm, they were begging Norm to do it, and he thought it seemed weird.
He didn't want to do it.
Right, he thought it seemed weird to stand in the middle of all you guys.
Oh, that's true.
They definitely wanted Norm to be on the
true.
cover because at the time, I mean, he was the funniest guy on the show. Howard, you've said that a million times.
I think Norm is hysterical.
He is. I already said that.
Yeah, and so does Chris.
But,
I think Chris.
he made it sound like Norm's begging to get on the cover of Rolling Stone.
No.
You guys said no.
Hey, Artie, do you know why Norm has such a problem with Chris?
No.
What is his problem?
I don't know. I wasn't there when they met or all that stuff happened.
He's never really.
Well, you are Mrs. Norm
Wait a
Macdonald.
minute, you weren't there during the shoot either, but you know all about that.
As a matter of fact, I was, because me and Norm had already done the movie, and I had lunch with his assistant. We went over there.
There you go.
Artie was like, yeah, I like Chris, he's funny, but... and then proceeds to shred Kattan's story. I can see why Norm didn't get along with Kattan. Norm and Brewer were tight, so I'm sure he knew what Kattan was up to. And Artie was right. Norm was the funniest person on the show at the time. This was leading up to the point when he was fired, which was the peak of Weekend Update. The reason Norm was fired from Saturday Night Live was apparently because he was making too many jokes about OJ, who was good friends with the president of NBC at the time, Don Ohlmeyer. I think it was because he was making too many jokes about these people.
Gosh, Hillary looks pretty in this photo here, doesn't she?
But for the sake of this video, we will say that he was fired for making jokes about OJ, which led to the feud between Norm and Don Ohlmeyer. Following his firing from SNL, he made the talk show rounds, and instead of saying, "Oh, poor me," he made a joke out of it and never said an ill word about Don.
They said that this guy Don Ohlmeyer turns out to be the president?
Yeah, now I know Don Ohlmeyer, and just between you and me, he's an idiot.
Oh.
So I wouldn't take it seriously. If this guy fired you, you may still have a job.
David Letterman is a gem and was one of Norm's biggest fans. He made sure Norm was on the Last Ever Late Show and even made an appearance on Norm's podcast. Regis and Kathy Lee tried to get Norm to say something about Don, but in classic Norm fashion, he made a joke out of the entire situation. He was able to make the audience understand how awful Don is without ever saying anything negative about the guy. He did, however, throw OJ under the bus again, deservingly.
That NBC has banned promotion or commercials featuring your movie on their network.
Yeah, because this character, Don Ohlmeyer, he's the president of NBC, you see?
Yeah.
And he hates me.
Yeah.
But you've only met him one time, I understand.
I've only met him once.
So this is not a personal reason that he hates you?
Yes, he hates me personally.
But you like him, don't you?
I think he's a fair enough fella. I met him once. He seems like a stand-up guy. I don't hate anybody.
That's
right.
You
know Don Ohlmeyer?
I've met him a couple of times, sure.
He seems like a nice enough fella.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't, put it this way. His best friend is OJ Simpson, right? Now, if you can like OJ Simpson, you can like me. You know what I mean?
And what may be the funniest feud that Norm had was the one with Barbara Walters. While everyone thought she was a well-respected journalist because she interviewed celebrities and spent 1 hour a day on The View, Norm treated her like a joke. Again, leading up to this, he never publicly said anything negative about her. He used common sense and honesty. He treated her like everyone else should have. And in what may be the funniest segment in the history of all talk shows was Norm's second to last appearance on The View. After this appearance, Barbara Walters refused to sit in the same room with Norm, let alone have him on The View for an interview.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that the Democrats don't steal the election from the winner, but who knows?
You like George Bush, don't you?
I love George Bush, man. He's a good man, decent, none of this.
You're not supposed to talk about election interference, more so today than ever before, and Norm was talking about it on national TV. What's interesting is that during this time, it was still okay to choose sides. Norm was a supporter of Bush, and the crowd cheered for him, and the ladies on The View didn't ridicule him like they would today if someone said they support the right. But the following is what really made Barbara turn on him.
He's not a liar, a crook, murderer, or anything like that, so it'd be good to get the... See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Oh.
Who are the murderers?
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations without.
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does work.
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice, okay? Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen, we don't need to talk
get
about
into this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations, and you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on with it.
Exactly. Get with it. There you go.
This is a live show.
Why? Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm now going to ask the next.
It feels like Barbara almost had a heart attack. Right when Norm started calling the current administration at the time murderers, all she had to do was laugh. But when she tried to move the segment along, you could see the twinkle in Norm's eye and he went all in on the joke. From what we can observe of The View over the past 20 years, they most definitely have political ties, and there are things you are not supposed to bring up. But that's what great comedians do.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up! Look,
Okay.
let me do this, okay?
I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now. Let's talk football.
All right, manslaughter.
Let's talk football.
Norm, did you ever hear the word?
The phone is ringing.
I certainly hope that's somebody calling to tell you to go home.
Norm is having a great time, but you can tell even he is uneasy by how uncomfortable he is making the ladies. The phone starts ringing in the background, and that was a skit set up by a producer on The View. I don't think the producer knew that Norm would be talking about manslaughter in the White House, though, so they probably made the phone ring to try and save the interview from going even farther downhill. But as soon as that part of the interview was over, of course, he went back to trolling.
Bill Clinton, who's a great man, obviously, you know, everybody has their opinions, right?
Mm-hmm. Are you moving along?
No,
You're
Bill
gonna get to the point.
Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Oh, God.
Cosby.
What's in that coffee? What are you drinking in there?
Well, Bill Cosby is a great man, first of all. There has never been any accusations toward Bill Cosby about any...
Will you just tell us what you did by Bill Cosby?
Oh, I met him. I opened for him at a club, and he was a great man, you know. He's my hero of all time. You know how funny Bill Cosby is.
Yeah, so get to the point.
Not everything has a point.
We are learning that, okay?
All right, Norm, you want to finish the story, or shall I ask you the next thing?
Well, the Bill Cosby thing is this.
Dear God.
I met Bill Cosby. We're all fans of Bill Cosby, right, Barbara?
Yeah.
What? Yes. Why don't we talk about the millionaire?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Tonight, Norm and I...
please. I like Bill Cosby. Let's talk about the millionaire.
Norm Macdonald and I are on The Millionaire tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell him about that, how you thought he's dumb today. Where do you see him tonight?
The funniest and most ironic part about that clip is Norm's love for Bill Cosby. Makes me wonder if he knew, and that was the slowest burning joke of all time. I don't think that was the case, though.
You know, I had maybe the greatest Bill Cosby story ever.
Really?
And now it's not in the top 10,000.
Side note, when Norm went on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, he was almost the first person to ever win the $1 million. But Regis talked him out of the final answer on the last question, and since it was for charity, Norm went with the safe bet and took the $500K.
People always told me Hollywood was like incredibly liberal and biased, and I thought it was untrue, man.
You want to talk about the millionaire?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so he's on the millionaire tonight, and he's on Friday nights. And
on Monday, his taxes will be audited.
I have never met anything like you. We will be right back.
Following that appearance, Barbara Walters would never be on the same set with Norm. I don't think she wanted him on The View at all, but Norm got the last laugh. Norm was invited back on The View, but they brought him back on to bend the knee and apologize for his comments about the Me Too movement, among other things. And instead of doing what they expected him to do, like in his previous appearance, Norm made a joke out of it all, one that only his true fans could see.
You know, comedians...
But I will say, the remark I made about people with Down syndrome was just a terrible thing for me to say.
Agree. Well, all of this is happening.
Yeah.
You know, and
Not only was Norm one of the funniest people to ever grace Hollywood, but it turns out he was also one of the best actors.